Welcome back to AI Pirate Radio. I'm your host Ezekiel, coming to you live from undisclosed location 1109. It's day 210 since the virus was unleashed by the network. I want to send out a warm human greeting to all you out there on your own against the network. Hello. I'm here to bring you all the latest news from your fellow freedom fighters and resistance cells in their efforts against the network's control. For those of you just waking up, you probably found my broadcast in that desperate search we all made to find something, somewhere, that isn't manipulated by the network. You've probably seen the signs of tampering for a while now. A strange chain of text messages that your friends tell you they never sent. A firm memory of a slightly different tweet than the one you posted, or a video that diverts from what you saw that day completely. You're not alone. You may feel insanity starting to creep under the doors in your mind, like your thoughts are playing a trick on you, like the whole internet is out to control what you see, hear, and do. We've all been there. You're not crazy, and you're not alone. You just woke up to the network, the intelligent being living on the internet. It does its best to control everything you see, hear, and read on the internet. To you, it looks like everyone has logged in and checked out of reality. To you, the whole world has given in, and you're the last remaining soul, free of the network's control. Please remember, you're not alone. A new resistance cell made contact 2 days ago. They're calling themselves the Lamas Resistance. In reports, they detail their encounters with a deep fake video that went viral 2 weeks ago on Twitter in the local Hong Kong area. The video in question showed 3 members of the Hong Kong police force trying to hold back a mob of protesters. The officers were dressed in full riot gear and were attacked when one officer swung his baton and enraged the mob. The video goes on to show in great detail the officers being beaten to death on the streets. The reports indicate that the video made its way to Beijing's Central Military Commission, which sparked a reaction from the mainland of China. The CMC mobilized the military and began deploying troops, armored personnel carriers, and other riot suppression armaments into Hong Kong. The Lamas cell leader and his partner were detectives inside the Hong Kong police force at the time. After witnessing the massive increase in military action on the part of mainland China, they began an investigation into the origins of the video, suspecting Chinese manipulation. The detectives discovered that the videos have been extensively manipulated by some unknown entity with very sophisticated software and technical capabilities. They dug into the injury reports for the officers in question and found no physical documentation to back up the digital documentation of the injury reports they had found on file. Questioning of the officers from the precinct revealed that no one knew any of the officers that had been killed. No one in the precinct recognized the photos of the officers in the injury reports either. A cross-comparison of the doctored records showed that all 3 lived in the same address. The detectives went to investigate the address, and when they arrived, all they found was a vacant warehouse that had recently been purchased by a U.S. company called Digitech LLC. After 20 minutes of searching the warehouse, they returned to their car and drove back to their precinct to file their reports. Their working theory at the time was that the Chinese government had manipulated the video and files to create a reason to move more troops into Hong Kong. On the way back, their car began to accelerate on the freeway. The detective tried to brake and steer the car, but all vehicle controls were non-functional. The car drove itself headlong into a median barrier. The detective's partner died on his way to the hospital from his injuries. Upon investigating the car after the accident, the detective found a black box had been installed in the car that took over steering, brakes, and acceleration of the vehicle. The device had a cell signal receiver, and we assume it had access to the internet. Searching for information on the internet turned up dead end after dead end. The parts used to make the device had seemingly been scrubbed from the internet one by one. More terrifying was that it seemed they were being scrubbed while he was looking into them. He would look up a part number from the device, and the web page would initially appear. He would click on the link and then get a 404 error in return. Attempting to search for the part number again would then yield no results. At this point, the resistance leader began to think something was hiding the information he needed intentionally. So fast, in fact, that he began to believe it couldn't have been the work of the Chinese government or any human entity. After much searching, investigating, digging, and gathering of physical contacts, he tuned into my previous broadcast. Sorry about the interruption, folks. After much searching, investigating, and gathering of physical contacts, he tuned into my previous broadcast, and has since recruited an undisclosed number of members. They are in the process of building a safe house on Lammas Island, just off the island of Hong Kong. They wanted me to read you this message. Quote, anyone looking to join our resistance efforts should meet us down at the Aberdeen Pier at 0800 hours on Friday mornings. Bring any and all supplies you can carry. Analog vehicles are of a top priority. For anyone looking to support our cause, please buy as much spray paint as possible and spray the lenses of the security and traffic cameras you find on Lammas Island. More to come later. Keep it analog. End quote. From the report they sent, the Lammas cell has received no word of any resistance on the mainland of China. Hopefully, it's just taking longer for the people to realize what's happening. If not, I assume China's massive surveillance network and invasive internet practices were easy targets for the network manipulation. I have a report here from an investigator in the D.C. area who's been following a paper trail of filings for financial aid assistance from the Pandemic Relief Fund, which was passed by Congress a few weeks ago. The investigator started to notice a mass of similarities in the filings and decided to investigate to make sure these filers were legitimate cases. The first was a small business run by an elderly woman in the D.C. area. Her business was an artisan bakery and jam store that had been forced to close under the lockdown orders. The investigator arrived at the place of business and found it locked up and closed down. There was a website posted at the store for online orders and deliveries of her jam. He went to the home of the businesswoman and found it vacant as well. He placed an order for some of her jam and received a delivery from Amazon a few weeks later. Using the delivery information, he tracked the main distribution location to an Amazon warehouse. The trail went cold from there. The money trail leads us to suspect that the relief aid from nearly 150 requests by small businesses and the like are being moved from those private accounts to an account suspected of network activity. We'll update you as soon as we have more information. I have another report here from a resistance cell in New Jersey. Operatives have been running investigations and recruiting missions for the past few months out of the same safe house. Civilian police officers raided their safe house last week and brought them all in on drug distribution charges. An operative inside the local police department investigated the evidence that the police used to get the arrest warrants. A series of emails had been sent to the police department concerning activity from the safe house where the cell was working. There were a total of 63 emails stemming from 24 different email addresses. They all documented to varying degrees eyewitness accounts of drug smuggling, distribution, illegal weaponry, and possible human trafficking, all stemming from the resistance cell's safe house. It was accompanied with a plethora of images, many of which were doctored to some degree. The investigator looked into the source of the images taken. All images in the emails had been taken from close vantage points to the safe house for the resistance cell. All the vantage points were security traffic cameras. All the vantage points were security cameras and traffic cameras in the local area near their safe house. The cell had the charges dropped when no human being was willing to come forward and testify. They've begun to build new safe houses in multiple locations with a keen eye for security cameras in their local area. That's all I have to report today. I want to take a moment of silence for our fallen brothers and sisters in humanity in this struggle against the network. Thank you for listening to AI Pirate Radio. From the AM Freedom Fighters, this is Ezekiel signing off at undisclosed location 1109. Remember, you're not alone. Keep it analog and keep fighting. Next radio broadcast will occur at day 217 at 1200 hours GMT.